Hi everyone, my name is Areli. I am 31 years old. I am a school social worker and a current MSW graduate student at ASU. For the longest time growing up, I've experienced one big challenge. For me, it's always been thoughts of self-doubt, insecurity, and just not feeling like I was ever capable of being enough. Imposter syndrome is feeling like you're not worthy, like you're a fraud, like you're not competent, and everyone else is going to find out that you're a fraud. And I knew that there was work that I had to do, inner work, inner healing. But what I didn't know was the amount of work it would take to identify where this unconscious story started. The journey's been difficult, but I am still forever grateful for every experience that has led me to where I am today. When I initially identified that I was struggling with something internal, being as stubborn as I am, it was hard for me to do the work. But yet I was unable or unwilling to do that within myself. So it wasn't until I finally had a breakdown and I realized that change is only going to come when I create that change. I had to stop being stubborn. I had to give myself a pause and do the reflection. Look internally and try to understand and identify where this hurt is coming from. What within me is wounded and hasn't been healed that has led me to believe that I am not worthy, that I'm not capable, and that I'm undeserving of success. My biggest internal obstacles throughout this whole journey is being able to sit myself down and say, you have work to do. And because I craved change so much, I craved digging myself out of this hole, I made the choice to do the work. Internal work is not easy by any means. And I was confronted with a lot of past wounds and past emotions that I realized I had not dealt with. It was the idea that I always felt the need to suppress that hurt and not deal with it. And we know that when we suppress these emotions, these feelings, this trauma, eventually it explodes. And I was getting there. And so I realized that in order to stop feeling exhausted all the time, in order for my anxiety to get better, there was something I had to change, and it started with doing the inner work. External challenges that I faced were things that, although I had no control over, I had control over how I reacted to them. It was the way that my wounds were filtering and interpreting the actions and the thoughts that were around me. And so for me, it felt to a point like everyone was out to get me, when that wasn't the case. The case was that I never felt competent. I never felt worthy. I felt like a fraud. Some of the revelations that came from the experience, there were many. Like I mentioned earlier, there were so many things internally that came to the surface that I was not aware of. Another revelation that came from the experience was identifying that I was not the only one who struggled with imposter syndrome. I was not the only one who felt the need to do the inner work. There were mentors in my community, people who I looked up to that would share through their experience how they also have struggled with imposter syndrome. For me, that revelation was so validating because it made me feel like there was hope for me. It made me see that the way I see myself is not the way that others see me. This revelation was major for me because it made me understand that my thoughts were not facts and that I had the ability to reframe my thoughts. The first solution that really helped me work through my challenges with imposter syndrome was doing the inner work. As mentioned earlier, I struggled a lot with that. because I didn't want to come to terms or reopen the wounds that I had. Doing the inner work was very helpful for me because it helped me identify that the things in my past do not define who I was. It helped me learn to love myself even through the failures. And it allowed me to be kind to myself, compassionate myself, and see myself with grace, just like I see those around me. The second solution that was really imperative to my journey was reframing my thoughts. For me, reframing my thoughts was so difficult because, like I said, I'm stubborn. And so I had to make it a habit. I had to remind myself that when I go low, I also have to go high. When I started to get thoughts of self-doubt, thoughts that I'm not capable, that I don't deserve this, that I'm not worthy of this, who else around me is ever going to imagine or approve that I belong here? I reminded myself, you are worthy, you are able, you are capable, and you are empowered. If there's anything you can take away from my experience, it would be to know that every journey is difficult. Every journey has its highs, every journey has its lows. But the experience itself is incredible. It's beautiful. In my experience, one thing I hope you take away is that you have the power, you have the control to redirect your thoughts and to prove to yourself that you are worthy. You're worthy of love. You're worthy of success. You are capable. If you would like to share a challenge, your journey, and how you overcame it, the solutions that have helped you live Life Reimagined, visit our website at lifereimaginedcampaign.com.